Yo, everyone. How's everybody doing tonight? Welcome to Climbing the Ladder. I'm your host, ChanmanV. And co-hosting with me, as always, is John Clark of CSN. What's up, John?
Not much. How are you?
And our newest co-host, Mark Faraz, CEO of Quantic Gaming. What's up, Mark?
Good evening. Good evening. Good evening.
Good evening. So, how you guys? So, exactly. So, John, you just got back from QuakeCon, right?
Yep.
How was that?
You're only going to give me 2 minutes, really, to talk about it.
I'll give you 2.5 minutes because I know you'll just spend like the entire show talking about it. So I gotta put a cap on it.
Probably right. I don't want to take up anyone else's time. It was awesome. It was like no other event.
Well, this is Texas, the biggest one, right?
But yes, this is this was the biggest one they've ever had. They never have sold out QuakeCon, and it holds 2,900 people. And this year they were real close, and then on the day or the night of the event, before the event, on Wednesday, there was a line literally to the lobby of the hotel. And if you knew how big this hotel was, that's a long, long ways. That's like 3 city blocks, easily. And they ended up turning away 1,000 people after making room for an additional 300.
Wow, that's pretty crazy.
That's insane.
And that's just the people to get into the BYOC, to bring your own computer part. I mean, obviously, a lot of those people then turned around, put their computers in their cars, and came into the event itself, you know, into the exhibitor hall and whatnot. The finals for the Quake stuff was packed. I walked in there, and there was all sorts of excitement going on, and I thought to myself, yeah, MLG and all these others, they claim to, you know, this is the greatest thing since sliced bread, and this is QuakeCon. Nothing is like QuakeCon. I'm telling you, there's nothing like it.
That's definitely awesome. And before we let you continue with that, John, I want to kind of welcome our guest on really quickly, and we can continue the QuakeCon talk. But yeah, we have 2 lovely ladies on tonight. First being Flo Yao, aka QuanticFlo.
Hello.
A member of Mark's team, Quantic Gaming. Pleasure to have you, Flo. I think it's been wanting
to be here.
Yeah, been wanting to get you on one of my shows for a while now. So I'm glad we finally got to arrange something. And second, we have Sue Lee, aka Smix. Hey, Sue, how's it going?
Good. How are you guys?
Good. Sue is the ubiquitous Korean translator for all the big events. I'm sure you've seen her. I mean, everybody's seen her, but everybody's like, I can't. Did y'all read the Reddit thread? Hotbit was like, I know Flo, but who is Smix?
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Was that a troll? Okay, was that a troll?
Oh, he was just trolling.
Okay, I was gonna say, man, it's like, what's going on with Hotbit, man? But
wait, who's Hotbit? Just kidding. Just kidding.
Exactly.
Just kidding.
Exactly.
Oh, you're such a funny guy.
So yeah, so this is gonna be a fun show. Obviously, Flo and Sue are really good friends too. So I figured this would be a really good matchup here. And you guys have really unique perspectives, I think, on esports also. You know, being a female gamer, being at that age where you have to kind of choose, whether to take a break from college or to kind of pursue this. And Sue, obviously, being a translator. I don't think you guys get much airtime and really get to talk about like your stories and just kind of an interesting angle that you have. I mean, you deal with so many of the Korean players, and you get to see a lot of things that I'm sure a lot of us don't get to see. So and it'll be great to get your opinions and views on a lot of things. But okay, John, QuakeCon, I'll give you 1 more minute.
Okay, so it was really cool. It was the first day was extremely overwhelming, to be honest with you. On Thursday, I was completely overwhelmed. There was so much that we had to get done between Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, and pretty much you can count Thursday as a wash because it's still people setting up and whatnot. But we ran, I think, 37, 38 events.
God.
And
wow.
We actually had 10 PCs that they set up in our area, so we basically ran those as like our little main stage. I can say that some of our closing ceremonies, as far as for the winners, were better than most of the MLGs and IPLs. It was awesome. No, but we worked with some developers of some new games, which was really cool for ID Software to allow that to happen. And we gave out, I think the numbers are close to $15,000 to $17,000 in pricing. So it was really, really cool. Maximus Black had a blast. after he finally got there.
Yeah, he looked like it. I checked out his stream every so often, and
Yeah.
yeah, he looked like he was having a good time.
Yeah, he did. He left his pink hat at the hotel, though, but his pink cowboy hat. But he did really have a good time. They're saying the stream is dead, by the way. It's not.
Is it?
So yeah, it was no. Somebody, a couple of people said that. Yeah, working for me too. But yeah, it was a blast. It was a lot of work. I think one of our admins, G2 Wolf, who you know, he literally stayed up for I think 38 hours straight. Because it's a 24-hour event, so we have to run events. We were running events. We were announcing events at like 5 o'clock in the morning. So it was awesome. We ran some League of Legends, Starcraft 2, we tried to run Team Fortress 2, some CS:GO. We gave out a bunch of Dota 2 keys. We worked with a lot of good people. Met a lot of people, and it was good.
Cool. That'd be fun. Mark, you ever been to one of them?
Have I ever been to a QuakeCon?
Yeah.
Actually, you might laugh about this. I have been, but it was like year 2001 or something, 2000.
Oh, wow.
Like, that gives you an idea how long this has been going on. This has been going on a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I was 11 back then.
Yeah, well, actually, I was playing Counter-Strike, man. I was playing Counter-Strike, and
Counter-Strike, yo.
we were so badass. We actually had Counter-Strike set up in the Slackware 8 server, like in one of these like ISPs, and we had it like snuck in one of the racks. And the guy who was like running the place, he like let us put it in there, and we used to like admin it. And we had 25 milliseconds anywhere in the United States. We were just like, it was so awesome.
Nice.
Awesome.
Very cool.
Very, very cool. Well, all right, guys. Well, I was gonna segment into misconceptions in the industry. I think, John. You think there's anything else to discuss? Or no?
Yeah, there's a misconception. Is that QuakeCon is just QuakeCon? It's awesome. I mean, I'm telling you. I think really they asked afterwards, you know, what was the difference? What was the difference between last year where we got close to filling it up, and this year? And I said, I really thought that misconception that QuakeCon was really only about Quake had gone away. So the misconception that it was just this place.
They should rename it.
Yeah, they should rebrand it.
I
I've
really
thought that for a
don't
long
think
time.
I thought about that, but I really don't think so. They're loosening their reins a little bit as far as, like, for instance, Hi-Rez was a sponsor of the event, actually. And they had branding everywhere. And they create tribes. So
right.
I think they're loosening it up a little bit to allow, more, different developers. Now, we did have a list of certain developers that we were not allowed to brand at all, that they don't work with very nicely. But
right.
But yeah, it's becoming more about like a celebration of gaming as opposed to about IT software and Quake. I mean, obviously the main events were there for Quake, but I wouldn't doubt that that you'll see, especially after this year, that you'll see them open the doors a little bit more to to some more main tournaments being ran by other games. But I think that was definitely a misconception, is that it was just about Quake, and I think that misconception went away, and thousands more people decided, well, shit, with all these tournaments going on everywhere, and it was just became more aware to them about what it was, and so they showed up, and
right.
and those that got in had a blast, and those that sat in line literally for about 18 hours or more probably didn't have as much fun.
Right, right.
But
okay, Flo, any misconceptions you would like to address, or you think is running prevalent?
Well, this one kind of has to do with more of a personal level, like
sure.
in relating to like female gaming. Like a lot of people, like when I'm lurking on the forums or whatever, Reddit, anything, a lot of people seem to think that like female gamers kind of have like a free ride just because they're female. But I can tell you, it's like emotionally stressful. Like I kind of broke down, like when I read some of these like nasty things I was reading, and people seem to think that just because being female, she's only on that team just because she's a girl. Like I've seen countless and countless of comments like, Flo is only popular because she's a girl. She plays Starcraft, and she basically got like a free ride. And which is like I worked my ass off to get like to be where I am right now. Like I practice like every day, like, and people seem to overlook that and just go back to the fact that I'm female, you know, and just it's nasty sometimes.
Right. I mean, we have a lot of time. You know, obviously we had a few topics that kind of address that, but let's just jump a little bit to that since you brought it up. Mark, what do you say about that? I mean, like, what do you say to that? Like to the folks that they're posting these kind of things that Flo's reading.
Well, I mean, I think in general, I think the whole concept that people post a whole bunch of nasty things online without necessarily having anything to gain from it. Like, well, I guess what's the motivation of somebody posting that?
Right. Just
because they can't.
Impact, yeah.
That's what's so stupid about it.
Well, you know, so-and-so female gamers, and so-and-so, you know, Native American gamers, and so-and-so and the Chinese gamers. Like, what? So what? What do you got? What's you saying? Like, so what? Does your finger work? Play a game? Okay, we're good.
Yeah.
But I mean, it goes further than that. I mean,
I'll tell you one thing for sure. Quantic supports diversity in gaming. Period.
Right.
It's your equal opportunity employer.
We've had transgender players. We've had female players. We've had gay players. It doesn't matter, dude. So what?
Yeah,
it's like,
it really doesn't.
That's not a coefficient at all about. I mean, like, obviously, like, Flo is a female player. Flo plays in female tournaments and things like that, right? She's one of the best in the world. That's all that we need.
Yeah, I mean, if you work hard, you deserve, like, every single thing that you earn. If you work hard, you know, it doesn't matter if you're female or whatever, you know. If you work hard, you deserve it, and people should be aware of that at all times.
People should be respectful. All those people making those comments aren't where Flo is.
Yep.
That's probably why they're making the comments, too.
Do that, for real.
All right. Well, you know, again, we have like a few topics we'll get into in just a second that kind of, you know, address more of that. But Sue, before we do that, I kind of want to see if you had any misconceptions you wanted to bring up.
I think the bigger issue is what Flo mentioned, but I guess the idea of just females and esports in general is kind of a big. I think there are a lot of misconceptions with that as well. I think there is a reason why whenever, you know, females in gaming, those two ideas come together, there's always like all this backlash and like, oh, you know, she's doing this to get attention, or she's doing this, or et cetera, et cetera. But I think people, hype it up a lot more than what it actually is. As I've been working in the esports scene and translating at these events and things like that, I've like very, very, very rarely encountered like situations where me being female affected the situation in any way. I think, like, you know, when I'm working these events, like, it just comes down to my translating work and things like that. I think in terms of the popularity that I have gained, I guess I will be honest and say me being female had a part to do with that. But in terms of my actual encounters and taking part of these events and like working these events, and I think what I bring, like the translating work that I bring to these events, I would say I don't think that being female has affected that in any way. Slash, I've never, you know, received reactions from the people that I work with that are predominantly male that make me feel uncomfortable in any sort of way just because I am female. So I don't know. I just feel like people make it a much bigger deal than it actually is. When it comes down to it, we're all working for the same purpose, to make these tournaments a better event for the viewers and for the players. So.
Yeah,
you have to use whatever you can use when you're marketing yourself in order to, you know.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry.
That's true.
No, it's okay. My comment is that a lot of that actually is because where your position, what you do, is considered okay for a female to do. One of the main reasons you probably don't get a lot of crap is because they see that as, oh, that's okay, she can be in that position. But the minute that a female gamer gets into a position of competing against men, there's a bunch of tools out there that just think it's like the worst thing in the world.
I definitely agree with you. I think I've been very, very fortunate in the sense that I think Flo is a much, I guess, more difficult position to be in. I can't even imagine how she deals with some of the comments that I see. I definitely have a position where it's not as evaluative. It's just kind of, I just kind of regurgitate what players are saying.
But see, your point, your thing is that yours is valid. The problem is that the gamers themselves then just look at you like a booth babe, and that, okay, that's her position, and that's another problem. Is that the reason you don't get the same crap that Flo does is because they just accept, well, that's just a menial job for her to do. You know, she can be a translator. Okay, females can be translators, they can be MCs, and they can be booth babes, and that's about it in gaming. So that's a problem in itself too. You should be getting shit.
Yes.
Great, John. You're just like encouraging people now.
That's the technical term right there. You should be getting shit.
Yeah, the level of success that you have is like the amount of shit you get.
I think I'm also lucky because what I do is heavily based on the, I guess if you were to criticize me, it would be the accuracy of my translations. And, I think I'm lucky in the sense that a lot of the times people don't understand the Korean, so they have no idea if I'm being accurate or not. So I think in that sense I'm also, the amount of criticism I get is limited by Koreans who can actually understand me.
Yeah, I wouldn't have it.
All in all, I'm in a position that's a lot, I guess, easier to deal with than I think Flo does.
All right, so
I'm in a position where I'm on a show with 2 female people with like almost 500 viewers right now.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I wonder if that has to do with anything. I don't think it does, but it might. But who knows? Who cares?
Wait,
Get over it. We're all good.
I mean, we've had, you know, it's...
It's just like people are like, oh my god. And have you ever seen Flo do like 8 like drops on people's like bases at the same time? Like she's ridiculous.
Oh my god. No,
That's why we picked her up.
Well, thank you.
I have a misconception for you, though. I have a misconception for you.
Right. Hit us, Mark.
That there's no barrier to entry to esports.
Right.
I think that's a common misconception because I think that everybody goes, well, you can just start a team and you can name it anything. Or you can just start a network and you can name it anything, or a website and you can name it anything, or whatever. And I just think that that's absolutely, patently false. I think that if you want to start a team like Quantic, or you want to start a network like CSN, or you want to start a show, it costs tens of, or in a lot of cases, hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yeah, I mean...
I mean, to start a team then.
I mean, a lot of people can start anything. It's just, if you actually want it to be successful,
right.
Yes, you're absolutely...
I'm saying barrier to entry.
Right.
The barrier to entry of being like legitimate in this space is a lot, and it's getting higher actually. I think.
Yeah, I mean, is
unfortunately, because I really think that I think we need more.
Yeah, I mean, your last comment about it actually getting higher and higher, is that an issue? You know, is that an issue in our industry? Because, you know, what that means is that there's just not going to be new, fresh teams that pop up, or, you know, organizations that pop up that would either compete against, say, you know, Quantic or CSN to really push you guys, right? Competition is always the best motivator, right? To really push progression. So I guess that's a question that, you know, we talked a little bit about last week, but I'll bring it up again. Like, is that an issue? Like, is it just too hard right now
don't think so. I think that I think that the barrier to entry is going up, and I think it's good for the people who are here, because the fact of the matter is the people who are here haven't figured out how to make money yet. So what the hell do we need more people for? But I think that there's a lack of people that know how to run things well, and I think that that's a problem. Like, that's the bigger problem. Does that make sense? To say that you need $250,000 to start a global team, like, there's not very many businesses out there that you can really realistically start without $250,000.
Yeah, that's true.
Just saying. I mean, CSN was started on over $100,000 of funding, I think, or something like that. I mean, it takes money. If you want to run a business, I don't know what to say, guys. I mean, you know.
Yeah, you got to invest money to make money. I mean, that's just pretty basic.
And that's the thing. I mean, a lot of the people who are in esports right now aren't making money yet. So to say that, you know, I mean, there's a lot of people in esports who are investing because they love it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That's why I'm here. I mean, it's one of those things where eventually we'd like to, you know, like, be able to actually generate business, you know, like traditional business effect, like financially. But I mean, I still think that there's, like I said, what you're seeing today is the people who know how to run a business, I guess, like a traditional business, and that can apply those skills to esports are actually doing well. And then the people that don't know how to run a business are either being consolidated by the bigger people or they're dying off. And I think that's going to continue throughout this year until we have a situation where there's like the top teams and stuff, and then there's like this really big vacuum in the middle, and then there's just like a bunch of little teams. which is sad. But
yeah, but that's I mean,
great.
again, that's not a good thing. I mean, because even if you have like, I mean, even those teams are huge that you're talking about. Let's just say there are like 4 of them or 5 of them that are just huge. They're still not going to be able to support the amount of, you can't support as many players as if you had more teams or some mid-tier teams that could at least support like the players that aren't at the very, very top, right? Right now that's kind of you made a good point where there's either the very, very top teams or there's these small teams, and players are kind of like all mixed in. All the players in the middle are just kind of in this kind of vacuum that you were saying, and there's a lot of good players.
Well, I don't
just
think the
stuck
players
there.
are in the middle, because I think the players that are in the middle are actually in the middle, like from a player standpoint. I was talking more about like the teams themselves. Does that make sense? So like when you see like teams that are like, I guess, in the middle, they're like kind of struggling to move upwards, right?
Well, let's just name some,
And
right? I mean, let's just talk about
Yeah,
like
I was saying,
Check
Mark,
6,
you
and
should
let's
name
just talk
some.
about like Infinity 7. I mean, I'll name them because they're
It
friends
goes
of mine
to
too.
Infinity 7,
Yeah.
like all those
I mean-
teams, like to get to a level of sustainability, it's really tough. It's going to get even tougher, and I think it's unfortunate because I think that some of those teams really should be here forever, But I don't think anybody's here forever. Like I don't think that even Quantic, I don't think EG is here forever. I just think that, I mean, if we, as an industry, if we suffer a big collapse or something happens, like MLG collapses, or like the investors pull out or something like that, I mean, like could have catastrophic effects that would trickle down all the way to the tertiary level, and nobody would really know what was happening until it was too late.
We were talking about that earlier today, Chris and I.
Yep.
I'm not sure I believe that, but
I don't know whether I believe it or
I'm
not,
quite
but I mean,
sure
yeah, I don't know either, but I mean, it's possible, I guess. I'd like to think.
definitely have a huge effect. I mean, just the same as if MLG had not, if Starcraft 2 had not come around and MLG was on its way out and
I mean,
dying.
like Naniwell leaves Quantic, and it's like a big deal.
Yeah.
Right.
So I mean, like if a major team like a Dignitas or something like that were to collapse, I mean, just imagine how much of an effect that would have. Dignitas has like 70 players.
SC2 players, or are you talking about total? Just
Total.
esports
Dignitas,
players? Yeah.
Dignitas is big, dude.
Yes,
Dignitas
yeah.
is legit, and Dignitas runs on a shit ton of money, and it requires, and they run their business so safely. Like, their whole concept is they want to be sustainable no matter what, so, they don't take on things unless they know they can pay for it. And it's like they have, the most secure operating budget, I think, of any team in the world. Like, they could run for, I don't know what it was, one time, a long time with no revenue.
Right.
That's amazing. That's amazing. It's a great goal to reach,
I'm going to have to figure out their secrets.
Yeah, exactly. Get Odie on here one of these days. But
the secret is basically that all these big teams are doing stuff that has nothing to do with the team themselves. So that's really what's driving the revenue.
yeah, just alternate kind of
So it's not like
revenue streams. Yeah.
the barrier to entry to being at the top level. It's not about having a team and supporting players. It's about doing marketing services. It's about doing promotion. It's about doing activations at events. It's about doing all these things that are actually professional business services. And if you don't do those things and you can't do those things well, then you'll never get the operating budget to have cajillion players in the first place.
Right.
It's kind of like those businesses are actual businesses, but they just decide to spend all their revenue on supporting esports. That's the reality, actually. That's legit. What I just said, that's legit.
All right, let's. I kind of went off on a tangent there, but let's kind of rein it back in and kind of get back on the topics that we have, and kind of want to start off with you, Flo. And for the viewers, just first, the first time watching this show, what we typically do with the topics is, they're angled towards either one or the other, our guests. So in this case, Flo or Sue. But once we introduce it, and get Flo's kind of take on it, it's kind of open discussion at this point. So anybody just kind of chime in with any opinions or views on things. But I wanted to start off first with you, Flo. Is obviously we talked a little bit about female gaming, but I kind of wanted to even take a look at the fact that you're 18 years old right now, right?
Yep.
And 18 is that key year, where you either choose to go to college or you choose to pursue pro gaming, right? And myself, I know you're Chinese, and you're Cantonese, and myself, I know how my parents are. Dude,
Yeah.
I know how Asian parents, especially Cantonese parents are.
All Asian
So-
parents are like the
Exactly.
Korean parents are as
Exactly.
well.
Korean parents are probably the same exact thing. And so my question to you is it's kind of two
It's
two
so
folds with this.
racist.
Listen, guys.
We can be racist to ourselves, okay?
Oh my god. Oh my
No,
god.
no,
Not
but-
just say that shit.
But anyways, no.
Oh, by the way, I said shit, so DJ Wheat's gonna flip on Twitter now. He's gonna be like, look, lady, you said shit on the show.
boy.
Sorry.
Okay, but anyways, my question is, I guess how kind of what were your decision points, to make the decision to, I guess, not go to college yet, right, and kind of pursue this, and secondly, how did you convince your parents to be able to move into a gaming house with a bunch of guys?
Okay, well,
You lied, didn't you?
no, I don't lie. Okay, it started way back. I've been gaming since at a really long time now, at a really young age. I started playing Counter-Strike for really casually, and I just got addicted, and I just played a lot after I got home from school. I really hated school. I just kind of looked forward to coming home and playing like a real geek. But
Right.
Gaming is just something I've been passionate for a really, really long time now. At the near end of my Counter-Strike career, I guess you can say, I wanted to join the ladies division in SK Gaming in Counter-Strike, but
Nice.
that kind of didn't happen.
Sounds baller, by the way.
Yeah, I actually consider one of my playing one of the top as in terms of female Counter-Strike players. I was really confident in my gaming ability in Counter-Strike, so I really, really wanted to make it far in Counter-Strike, but it kind of died while I tried. So yeah, just my life decisions. It's just I was just passionate in gaming. I really wanted to go into gaming because I loved it, and I wanted to do something that was my hobby as well. And gaming was always my hobby. So
How did you convince, take that and convince your parents, your mom and stuff? Because it's one thing to have that passion. I think we
Yeah.
don't understand that part, but how do you convince, Asian parents who just...
yeah, actually my mom kind of worried that I was a little bit too obsessive with gaming, because she would always when she came home from work, she would always walk upstairs and see me right in front of my computer, just staring into my monitor, playing Counter-Strike and shooting people. And
Shooting
That's so
people.
funny.
Oh man.
That's hardcore.
For a really, 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 really long time, and she was just she was watching me, and she knows I shoot people, and then blood's spewing out everywhere, and she was kind of worried that
concerned that you're... something is wrong with her little girl.
yeah,
Right, exactly.
but she's she knew I had. I don't want to say obsession, but she knew I loved gaming, so. Of course, being living in a traditional Asian family, she wanted me to go to school, go to college, become a doctor, But she kind of slowly accepted the fact that I wanted to do gaming. So she, in the end, she wasn't too happy with it, but she knew at the same time that I was going to make this decision anyways. So.
Yeah, might as well
Wow.
support you instead.
Might as well support me, because I made it.
Time of the year.
I made it really clear that I really wanted to go into gaming, and in terms of going to this house and living here with a bunch of dudes, she was. I think she was more concerned with the fact that it was with a bunch of guys,
Mm-hmm.
So the best thing I could do was hey, mom, you can, I'll show you around. I'll let you meet everyone. That's the most I can do to at least calm her worries. So.
So Mark, were you involved in a lot of that, talking to her parents and that kind of thing, or?
Actually, no. The only time I absolutely require to talk to parents is when they're the player's a minor.
Okay.
But I mean, there's Quantic has more than one staff member, and so there's
Yeah.
people on site there that I think were handling that specifically. So
Okay,
yeah.
cool.
Not that I wouldn't like to talk to our parents. I'm always happy to talk to parents. And being that we started with like 3 or 4 Call of Duty teams with all like 15-year-old players, like I've talked to a lot of parents in my life.
Right.
Well, I'm sure that was fun.
Done the living
It
room.
was so much. We took home 4 MLG trophies, including the nationals. It was a blast.
Oh, that is very fun.
So I mean, some of that, some of those things that you were mentioning right there, Flo, kind of reminded me a little bit of, reading that MKP article that CNN had. Do you guys read that?
Yeah, that was really cool, actually.
Yeah. What did you guys think of that? I kind of want to get y'all's opinion on that article.
Well, it's kind of an epidemic that's affecting Korea specifically, and I think that was really kind of an insightful thing for me because we always think of Korea as the esports capital of the world, but we don't necessarily realize that having esports be so prominent in that society causes this addiction issue. And I think esports is going to continue to grow in the United States, and I think that problem may very well grow with it because as people are more admiring esports personalities, they'll want to play more, right? Perhaps. I don't know. I hope not.
To that level, though, I mean,
we don't have really great time management in our country here anyway, so I mean, I don't know. There's too much stuff to do, so maybe that won't be as much of an issue, but...
Yeah, I mean, I think what was, when I was reading it, I was, definitely in the back of my head was really just, there's like a really fine line between addiction and, I guess addiction or OCD and, those type of things, and really being, passionate about being the best in the world at something, right? I mean, I bet, I bet like guys that are best in the world at whatever they're doing. Let's just say, I don't know, I'm trying to think of an individual sport. Let's just say Roger Federer or something like that, right? I mean, he's probably spent 10 hours, 12 hours a day on the court, just hitting over and over again. Obviously, sports are a little bit different because they're innately more healthy for you because they're physical activity. But let's talk about like Kasparov, right? The best like chess player or somebody like that. They're doing the same thing, right? Is that
their focus is on their game, which is their passion, almost all the time. I mean, Fatality from Quake days used to get shit because he would always say he practiced 12 hours a day. People are like, whatever, you practice 12 hours a day. But to be the best, sometimes that's exactly what you have to do. You have to put everything into it to be the best.
Yeah, exactly. And again, there's obviously a line where you can cross where it's just like you're not eating and you're not sleeping, and it's just like completely bad for you. But I just felt like, some of that article I felt like, was fair, and some of it wasn't fair.
Did you see the follow-up one?
No, actually, I didn't.
There was a follow-up one that CNN did. It was like really all showcasing MVP at WCG and stuff, and it was like basically they said in the article, they said, well, people came down on us really hard for showing esports and gaming addiction together with an emphasis on gaming addiction. So we did another video and another article about promoting esports in general. So they kind of were taking it really serious. Yeah, it was really nice actually.
I need to check that one out then. Yeah, that would have been good.
It was on the front page already yesterday. They were like, CNN's taking this esports up real seriously.
Cool.
Yeah.
Good deal. Good deal. Okay, great. Yeah, I mean, so like with Flo, like right now, with your current state in the house, why don't we talk about the house a little bit? I know Mark, we've kind of we haven't mentioned the house at all. So, it's this week or last week at all.
What are you talking about?
The spaceship.
The what?
Spaceship.
No, but
the secret moon base.
Yeah, something of moon base. That's what it was.
That's what everybody was tweeting. They were going like, "Oh, I'm going to pound secret moon base."
Exactly. And let's first start off with the reason why we're having the show at night, versus the regular time, which is 4 p.m. Eastern.
Which I like, by the way.
I'm old. It's almost my bedtime. You made me stay up for this crap.
Oh my God, John stays just as long as I do, so he's just full of crap. But the reason that we had it this late is because really your schedule. So let's talk about that. Both Mark and Flo. Let's talk about the house in general, and let's talk like the practice schedule and that stuff. And let's start with you, Flo. Talk to us a little bit about the what your day is like in the house.
Okay. Well, when I the first week or two of the house, the schedule was like to wake up around 9-ish, and breakfast would be served at 9:30, and we had to start gaming by 10 in the morning, and then we played for 4 hours, and then lunch was at 3 in the afternoon,
Oh, wow.
or sorry, 2 in the afternoon, and we eat for an hour, and then we play till 7. So it's a 4 hour, and then a break, and then another 4 hours.
Mm-hmm.
But recently we had a bit of a schedule change. It seemed like everyone was just like working their asses off, and everyone seemed like really stressed out. So the schedule actually changed. It's different now. It's a little bit, actually it's a lot easier in my opinion. We actually wake up like around 11 now, and we play 12 to 6. So it's 6 hours each day.
Wow.
And we get like a 30-minute break in between. And it's optional if you want to like keep practicing. Like, most people would like just keep practicing like and play
Keep
for like,
grinding
full.
away.
Like,
Yeah.
sorry. Yeah.
They just keep grinding away, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
6 hours is just the mandatory part.
Yeah, 6 hours is just mandatory, but like all of us, we like play like however long we can play. Like
6 hours is the structured program, but I think it's important to note that some people might say, well, that's not a lot. But I mean, StarTel's
Yeah.
structured program, which is our Korean partner, is 8 hours a day, 5 days a week.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that's not to say that people don't go to the StarTel house, especially, like, you might be surprised to know this, but foreign players that go to Korean houses actually grind out, like, more games than the Korean players in some cases, because that's a huge opportunity, and so
Yeah. Yeah.
they just, like, they're just...
You want to capitalize on the time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Big time. And like even like our Korean players, like Apocalypse, or Golden, or Dodoro, or the STC. I mean, like Apocalypse is in the StarTel house right now, and he works harder than anybody else there, actually.
yeah, I heard. Yeah.
Good stuff. So just to clarify, you mentioned breakfast being served. I mean, do you guys have like a chef there that cooks for all of you guys? Or?
I wish.
or I mean,
would
do you
sound
guys?
nice.
Yeah.
No, we don't have like a designated chef. It's like whoever is like free that morning. Like we even fix like food for ourselves to eat. It's just whatever is like convenient. We don't have like a designated chef.
Okay. Okay. Cool. And talk to us a little bit about the philosophy there, Mark. I mean, was your goal to make some, basically a Korean house here, or something that's designed a lot like StarTel, like a StarTel house, or you just
Our collective goal, I would say our mission, because that's really what we are. We're like an innovation firm, I guess, but our mission is really to develop talent and players and player branding and player skill, and we want to like invest in the entire person, not just the player. And our goal is to provide opportunities to gamers who have a lot of potential and otherwise wouldn't be able to reach that opportunity. So we feel like the American house is a really good avenue for players in our roster to prepare for a jump to Korea. Just to say, I mean, like, honestly, like, you can't just, like, go to Korea and, like, just jump in there, Like, if you're going to go work with a team like StarTel, if you're not used to working 6 to 8 hours a day, like, you'll literally just, like, choke and die.
Yeah.
Right.
You have to be accustomed to playing, and I'm talking, like, when Flo says she plays 6 hours a day, she plays for 6 hours a day. She does not surf the internet. She doesn't watch YouTube videos. She doesn't watch streams. She doesn't read Reddit. She plays for 6 hours.
She does really.
Yeah. Well, like during like queuing sessions after a game, I might sneak a little peek at Reddit.
There you go. But my point is, like,
I mean, I'm just being honest here.
Right.
She's not like entertaining people. She might be entertaining people if she's streaming or whatever. But I mean, it's just like it's about the skill development. I think that's a really central issue here, and we've always had a problem. And I also want to stress something else too. Our house, like, we haven't fully developed the program yet, but we really want it to be more of an open house concept. And we'd be open to like an exchange program with other top teams in North America. We really want to be able to have the top talent be able to come together and learn from each other and work hard together. And we think that is what's needed right now in the foreign scene. So.
Right. No, that's cool. That's very cool. So, I mean, out of the 6 hours flow, I mean, you mentioned queuing. Obviously, you're laddering and you're doing that sort of thing. How much of it is actually, talking with other teammates? Really, like, all together sitting, like, around a computer and really working stuff out.
Actually, I haven't really engaged in like really talking with people because mainly like my problem right now is like macro problem and multitasking problem.
Oh,
so
okay.
that's like what I want to tackle at first. Like, so like every day I just like grind ladder, like back to back. Like I don't really talk to anyone. I just focus on one thing, which is multitasking and macroing, and yeah. But if I like ever have like questions about like mechanics and stuff, like I'll ask questions, you know, and then I'm like, oh, okay, that's what I need to do to fix this. So and then I just go like right back to gaming.
Do others in the house get around, you know, sit around and kind of discuss some things?
Yeah.
And go over tactics and whatnot?
Yeah, the others, they do talk about the game all the time, and then they share replays, and just like when we're eating or something, like they talk about the game. Yeah.
Do you guys have a coach at Quantic?
We do not at the moment.
Is there a plan to, Mark, or no?
You know, I think it's something that we would look at. I mean, you know, we pretty good friends with Thunder Toss over there at Infinity 7, and he's come over I think a few times and stuff, and I think that's another team that has a lot of or has a Google person involved, so our ownership knows them really well, and it's kind of like, you know, I would love to see somebody like him, you know, engage with our organization, but it's just so hard to find somebody who understands the game really, because and there's a common misconception out there that, like, in order to coach StarCraft effectively, you have to be like a top StarCraft player, you have to be like MMA or something, and that's just totally false as well. I mean, top coaches in every athletic or non-athletic competitive activity oftentimes aren't necessarily, you know, like the best players, but they understand the game, they understand the challenge, and they understand how to motivate and drive performance outcomes with the team. And I mean, if you look like an offensive coordinator, in a lot of cases, like they're not really necessarily the best person to throw the football.
No, they're usually big, chubby guys.
Big chubby guys.
You're right on though, Mark, and the reason that I think that's interesting that you're saying that is because for a while on Team Liquid, if you mentioned any sort of caster, you know, casters for so long were just completely, I don't know what the right word is, but they were picked on because they didn't have. Did my poster just fucking fall?
Yes, it did.
Damn it.
It's kind of
John's like really like, wow, man, are you okay, dude?
Dude, he's
No,
like
I knew it was
staring
gonna-
at the X. He's like,
My toaster just fucking full. Casters, you don't have to be Artosis to be a really great caster. It's your right, John. I mean, that's a really good point. I mean,
yeah. If you understand the game well enough to talk about it, I just got so tired of people yelling and complaining about, oh, the caster, he's just a bronze level or he's a diamond level. He doesn't know what he's talking about. I think that's just ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, we've had some great casters like Axel Toss, who's over at Root now, and Ian Shikino and Crota and Gwen, and those guys, they're not like, you know, totally super fantastico, like grandmaster extraordinaires and everything like that. But so what? It doesn't really matter, man. I mean, if you know about the game and you understand the mental aspect of the game, like, look, I'm a bronze player, dude. I'm like silver, right? Just because I can't click the mouse that fast or whatever and like make it all do all that stuff, like, I know something's happening on the screen. When Flo's playing, I know, like, oh my god, like, you know, this is a problem, right? But the thing is, like, I could never find myself in that problem, but it doesn't mean that I don't recognize it still. Like, that's part of being a spectator, you know?
Let's also remember that.
Like,
oh, go ahead, Sue.
Yeah. I was just going to say, I think that there are a lot of people, I think there are different casters or different styles, and you can get like the more analytical type, like by Artosis, which I think some people really, really like and kind of want because they want to have the more in-depth analysis of what's going behind the strategies that are being used. And then you'll have some casters that are more like play-by-play style, which is not to say that that's not like a valid style. I think that both types can be equally entertaining, but I think in terms of what, you know, specific types that viewers looking for, I think sometimes that may be why they will point out those things like, oh, you don't need this level or this league or whatever that may be, because when it comes down to like analytical casting, I think you do need a certain level of, I guess, skill when you play the game to really understand what's going on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think that's like the perfect yoking of like Tasis and Artosis, you know, like Tasis is the guy who's like, whoa, man, that's really cool, man. Did you see that, dude? It's like wicked. And then Artosis is like, yes, and actually the specific dynamics of the situation and the specific fixtures of the game actually made him do this. And Tasis is like, yeah, man, Exactly.
Well,
It's cool, you know.
I mean, yeah. I mean, what they do is, I mean, they have it down to a science. So I mean, you're talking about two of the best guys, and definitely you need that level of understanding. I definitely agree with that. But I think a lot of people don't realize or just forget that, you know, 80% of the people that play Starcraft are below masters. You know what I mean? They're not good players. You know what I mean? So, and it's just like I was watching football. Like, you think we understand the actual complexity and dynamics of actually, you know, coming up with a game plan against, like, you know, a Steeler or Ravens defense? I mean, no way. We just kind of, like, we're superficial watchers, and we just, oh, he throws, oh, that was a good catch, or that was a great run. You know what I mean? You don't actually. The majority of the viewers don't have a very, very crazy.
That's not true. We're all Monday morning quarterbacks.
Exactly right. But
like, why did you just choose a run play? That should have been a pass.
Yeah,
I will say this.
Yelling at the screen.
Coaching is hard, and the hard part about it is not playing the game. Like, if you look at like Complexity Minigun, he's a really good coach.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Masters players that are really good coaches, and it's the same thing with casting. Like, being a really good solo caster is not necessarily about playing the game. Yes, you have to play the game to a certain level, but I mean, being a solo caster in the first place is just really hard. It's just really hard. You just keep talking and talking and talking. So.
Yeah, yeah. But, all right, kind of getting back again to our topics. Okay, so definitely going to be talking about female gaming, and we brought it up a little bit already, but let's kind of dig into this a little bit. And Flo, we've had just kind of Skype conversations in the past, and I know you don't. You've had periods of times where you just didn't want to be regarded as like a female kind of gamer, right? You just wanted to be a gamer, and of course, right? I think a lot of people feel that way. But there is something to be said about just female, pro gaming. Like, do we need like a female-only league, to help grow esports, to really give you guys really a platform to. I don't want to sound bad. I mean, I might get shit for this, but to really have a better chance, a higher probability of chance to succeed. Really, to be a champion, right? There's not many examples in any sport where a female has become the best in the world. When you include male and female, right? So. Do we need a female league for to help this platform really?
Well, I don't think we like need it, but I mean, as like an esports community, I mean, it's really nice to see like males and females compete, and I mean that's something people want to see. But then like these female leagues, like I mean, people are gonna watch them just because it's female. It helps bring in like viewers and money, right? But in terms of like playing. Like I just think that we like female-only leagues. We don't necessarily need them, but it's a way to like help grow the esports community.
Do you think, Flo? Do you think that like, and this is something I've always wondered. I mean, maybe, do you think that females play the game in some fundamental way differently than males do per se? I mean, like as far as like there's a lot of statistical differences between males and females. Like multitasking, for example, is one of them.
Yeah.
My wife can keep track of 3 kids, and I don't even know how she does it. So I mean, is it a different style of play at all?
No, I personally don't think that it being whether you're male or female. I don't think there's like a difference. Like just because you're male or female. Like I think if you just practice a lot, like we get good. Like I don't think there's some like influence to your gaming whether you're female or male.
Okay.
What are your thoughts, John? You knew I was going to throw that ball to you.
Well, I've been in this discussion before, and having been in esports for a long time, I've actually seen all-female leagues and all-female tournaments back in Quake, and the thing I've always brought up is that it's really just a way to. It's not that it needs to stay that way, but it's a way to get more females into gaming. And if we want to be more diverse and have a more opportunity for females, I mean, let's admit one of the main reasons why we don't see females at the very top of the levels in esports is because there's just not that many of them. There's just not. And so just by basis of math, it's, the chances of having someone at the very top that's a female is just not going to happen. But an all-female tournament or an all-female league, what that does is it opens the doors for other females to come in and feel comfortable about the surroundings and feel like they're welcomed in. Yeah, they're going to get crap, but they're at least with their group of other females, and I think that will raise the bar for everyone. And then eventually, if it's really that big of a deal to all of the gamers out there, especially the male gamers, that they have to integrate and they have to prove themselves among men to be the best, then so be it. But at least it gets them in the door. I mean, if we keep talking about this and we keep pushing them out and we keep giving them shit every time they do something good or they don't do something good, you're never going to make them feel comfortable enough to get involved, and then we're just going to be stuck in the same rut the whole time.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I don't think it's just really hard for like female leagues to like grow, because I just really don't know why people just tend to like shit on these tournaments just because it's like a female tournament. It just boggles my mind. Like, why not? It doesn't hurt the industry at all.
Right. Well, before I chime in here, Sue, you have an opinion on this?
Yeah, I definitely agree. I completely agree with everything John was saying, in the sense that I think it can be really, really intimidating for any prospective female player to try to enter the currently mostly male-dominated tournaments. Like, it can be really intimidating to kind of try out an MLG or whatever other tournament there is, just because, we see what the female gamers that are out there right now, the kind of shit that they get and the backlash that they get, just, sometimes for the sheer fact that they are a female gamer. So I agree in the sense that having more female leagues or female tournaments can open the door for more, I guess, female gamers out there that may not feel comfortable right now to just kind of take a step in and be like, okay, well, this isn't as scary. All these other people, all these other girls that are, in this tournament are probably in the same position as I am, and I just want to try this out. So I agree in the sense that I think more female, only tournaments or leagues can be good. Not just because it increases the diversity of events that there are out there, but just because I think the main thing is it'll bring in more females that I think there really just isn't right now. And I think right now, just as you said, there aren't many avenues for them to do so.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's kind of a really basic thing, and it can actually be applied to even how we view like NA players or NA only tournaments versus just the open tournaments where we bring in everybody in the world, and it's just about momentum, right? Like, I think it's really important, for female gaming tournaments, and besides the fact that you can just get more female. More sponsors that are actually targeted for female demographics. I mean, you can get new sponsorships right that way into esports. Creating just some kind of momentum, some level of success to kind of to kind of build up. Just the female gamers. I think it's really important. It's just like when I was talking to John, when I've always been talking about like NA only tournaments, right? And or just US only tournaments. And that type of thing, and it's kind of like what Blizzard's doing with the WCS. I mean, I think it's really important. Yeah, people can crap on the fact that that's not the best players in the world, but it doesn't matter. It's like as long as folks are winning something, I mean, it builds confidence. It makes people better. You know what I mean? And it's kind of the same thought process again that a lot of female golfers. Try to ascend, like conquer the LPGA and then go and try to play some male events. It's the same type of thing. And I just, I mean, I think it's actually I feel like it would be really, really good for esports if somebody did come up with a solid female-only league.
But look at that, what you just brought up. Remember Michelle Wee?
Yeah.
When she got into golf, she did it the wrong way.
Yeah, she did. That was just so bad.
Backlash for doing it. Had she done and gotten to the top of the level at the female level and then said, well, I want to try in the male, then anything that she did good at that point would have been praised. But it was exactly the opposite because she got into it trying to prove a point and everything.
Well, her dad did, at least. And it was, she had no confidence. Like, she had some confidence being young, but once she started maturing, like, she had just no confidence. And, now she's not even at the top of the female, like the LPGA. So it's just definitely the wrong way that she went about that, I think. But some folks might have worked, but definitely in her case, I don't think it worked. But okay, yeah, it's hopefully we'll see some more of that. And I mean, there are a good number of female gamers right now. I feel like, I mean, wouldn't you say there's at least 16 to 32? I mean, you could create like, that size of tournaments pretty regularly.
I bet Flo's lonely though, man. That might be something we have to do something about.
Lonely? What do you mean?
You mean another female gamer?
What might happen? I don't know.
Hint, hint, leak. What's that all about?
Now it's been an announcement.
I hope that a lot of people watching.
So much. I don't know what the problem is.
Yeah, there are a lot of them out
read
there.
about it real soon.
The next girl gonna be.
Exactly. There's plenty of them out there, man. I mean, you only hear about them when they get signed. There's a lot of them out there, so that'd be cool.
That's a goal, man. I think we need to
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's a goal. I mean, Flo's been really focused on skill development, but I mean, I think that
it overlaps.
She's got a great brand. She really does. She's got a great brand. So I think that that's something that But I mean, if you notice, what you've done with Flo, and specifically as a player, you've never sent her into booth babedom. If you know what I'm saying, we really try to focus on. She wants to focus on skills as a player, and that's what we try to provide.
Exactly. Okay. Well, I think we.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. But let's kind of transition over to Sue a little bit here, and it's really cool to have. I remember when I was presenting the idea to John originally, and we were talking about who should we have on the show? That would be kind of interesting, and I kind of brought up the fact that it'd be cool to have. The original idea was you and Wani on actually. But then it turned into obviously this is just as good or if not better, and I think you being a translator obviously and interacting with so many of the teams, Korean teams and the Korean players as well as the non-Korean players, you get to see a lot of behind the scenes things that we don't experience, and it doesn't have to be any kind of drama or anything like that. but you really get to see how these Korean players are handling having to travel to the U.S. and adapting to these type of tournaments. Especially MLG formatted tournaments, which is the gauntlet pretty much. So that's anyways. I kind of want to preface that with that's why I really wanted to have you on the show and thought it would be cool. Plus, then a lot of people just don't know you very well, so I thought it'd be kind of neat. But to start off, why don't you kind of give us a little quick background on how you got into esports and how you ended up with in a position where you're basically the translator of all these tournaments.
Well, I guess. It was interesting when I was hearing Flo's background of how she kind of got into gaming and where she is today, because my story is different from hers in the sense that I wasn't the gamer. I was a spectator, and I grew up watching my brother play, and he was the one that was playing CS every day after school and, just grinding hours and hours of just shooting people and watching them blow up, and I would be the little sister that would just watch over his shoulder, amazed at what was going on, because I was too scared to play myself, but watching him play, I kind of felt like I was playing vicariously, in a way. So I grew up watching him, and he also played Starcraft for a brief bit of time. And he played long enough that I, got used to the game. I understood the fun of, all the units and things like that. And then if you fast forward to, 2008, I started watching Korean boudoir because at the time, before then, I had no idea that it was even a pro sport over there. And I visited Korea in the summer of '08, and I was severely jet-lagged up late at night watching just TV. And I was flipping channels, and I was like, what the hell is this? Because they had a channel of just boudoir, like StarCraft 1. And I was really surprised and shocked because, here was this game that I watched my brother play and enjoyed doing so very, very much. And there was just a channel dedicated to players just playing this game. So once I went home, I found out that there was this tournament called the GOM Classic that Tasteless and Lil Susie at the time were casting. And so they would constantly make references to TeamLiquid.net. So I found the site and I started translating just written interviews that players would, give out after they win pro league tournaments or the individual leagues that were going on at the time for Brood War. And so I would translate those interviews, and that's kind of how I started getting into the Starcraft community. And then if I were to say how that kind of transitioned to me translating at live events, IPL3 was looking for translators, and they asked, can I get it? Who was one of the Team Liquid admins, if he would recommend anyone. And he recommended me very, very fortunately. And I just kind of, did a quick interview, and I got the gig. And then after IPL3, kind of just, I started getting a lot of offers to translate at this or that event. And I was also fortunate enough to work with Mark back in last November. So I worked with Quantic Gaming for MLG Providence last year, and ever since I've just been getting offers to work at MLGs and IPLs and.
It wasn't me though. It wasn't me. It was Nesty, sexy beast.
What?
She was there with Quantic IM, so it was Nesty and MVP and Lucira were with us.
Oh, I see.
So yeah, Nesty, man. Dude, we're all living in Nesty's dream.
Nesty's dream. Oh my god. Oh,
you were very intimidating just by the sheer aura they oozed.
Yes,
right.
Oozed. I like
I
that.
don't want to know
was
anything about anything oozing.
Exactly. Oh god.
Okay.
Just open up to anyone.
Exactly. But I mean that obviously that's it's pretty cool like how you ended up. How you kind of been ending up getting all of these. So I didn't realize it was like a team-to-team thing. Actually, I thought it was more tournament organizers hiring.
Oh no. So the only team that I actually worked with was Quantic Gaming for just that one tournament, MLG Providence.
Oh, okay.
And then besides that, it's been tournament based.
Okay. Yeah. Cool. Yeah, excellent. And what do what is your kind of views on the importance of kind of like your role? How would you define your role? And then I kind of want to get everybody else's opinion on how you think it either has enhanced, I guess, the experience of bringing having the Koreans come over, because like 2 years ago none of the Koreans were over here. You know what I mean? Like, and one of their issues was always obviously there were logistical issues, but there was also the issue of we just wouldn't relate to these Koreans. They don't speak English and all this good stuff. So, so kind of I want to start off by what is your view on the importance of your role?
I think that it's really, really amazing to see how, in this sense, in terms of Koreans coming over to all these foreign tournaments and things like that, that's really, really amazing because I remember, sorry to talk about Starcraft 1 so much, but I just remember, as most of you guys know, Starcraft 1 was predominantly just based in Korea. Not predominantly, almost like very, very, almost completely so, is based in Korea. So even if there was this foreign fan base, there was no way for foreign fans to really connect with them in any other way besides just kind of cheering for them in their own homes or watching live streams and talking about it on foreign community forums like teamflow.net. There was really no other way. And now with Starcraft, we have all these Korean players, and a lot of them are even based in Brood War. We have these Korean players coming over to America, to Europe, to Canada, whatever the country may be. We have them coming to us, and now we have the opportunity to actually not only see them live, but to actually ask them questions, talk to them in a way that we weren't able to before. So I think in that sense that I think my position is, I guess, helps to facilitate that, obviously, because as great as these Korean players are at playing the game, most of them can't speak English very well. Though I will say, I have noticed that a lot of them are starting to get a lot better, and they're starting to try and learn as much English as they can because they realize foreign fans love it so much. But I think I think I just feel very, very lucky and fortunate to be a part of the process of helping that process of facilitating communication with them, just because we didn't really have that before. So.
Good deal. Yeah, I mean, I think the obviously the added aspect of you being kind of a gamer, also, and having understanding of it helps quite a bit, because I could see just a straight up translator going and not understanding a lot of, you know what I mean? There's definitely,
Yeah.
it kind of leads to the next thing. There's definitely things that are lost in translation, and you know,
No pun intended, right?
yeah, exactly. So yeah, it kind of brings up the question of what's has there ever been a case where it was just like you just could not you could not translate it properly, whether it was there's just not a very good way to explain it, and
Okay, well, I will say most of the time